It's a Labradoodle puppy reunion. We have Mama Orca back in the house. This is a litter update. It's a week 3 litter update for the medium Australian Labradoodle puppies from our Kaleidoscope litter. Hi, I'm Claire from Van Isle Labradoodles, and in this video today we have Mama Orca, whose tail was removed just a few days ago. She was separated from her puppies while she recovered from that, and now she is back with her puppies. So in today's video we're going to talk about what was involved with that reunion, how it's going. We're also going to update you on the puppies and how things are going with them. So these little puppies are 3 weeks old today, and we've got Orange Collar over there doing a little song. He's having a little dream. And these puppies lost their Mama Orca for 6 days. Mama Orca had to have her tail removed due to an infection, and then she was on a drug called Baytril. Now in Canada, vets do not agree that puppies should be nursing if their mom is on Baytril. Now it's a very interesting cultural difference. In the United States, Baytril is used almost routinely by many breeders. Many breeders put their dams onto Baytril before they even get pregnant and throughout pregnancy, just to keep them healthy and make sure there are no vaginal or other types of bacterial infections going on. In Canada, that's not done. Also in the US, breeders will use Baytril for a variety of different issues that might arise with their dams, and they will allow their puppies to continue to nurse throughout the time they're on Baytril. So it's a really interesting cultural difference. Similarly, in North America, it's very routine for breeders to do what we call artificial insemination. And artificial insemination is used in order to keep the genetics diverse, because that's how you keep any breed of dog healthy. So lots of times that means that to do that, we need to use a stud who is too far away from us in order for the breeding to happen naturally. And in that case, what we do is we collect semen from the stud. It's okay, Belle. It's okay, Belle. And then we have it shipped out to where we are, and we artificially inseminate the girl. And sometimes as well, we simply just aren't able to have a male perform his job properly. Maybe let her out, Reynolds, and she'll stop barking so we don't have to worry about Belle. Belle heard somebody out in the driveway. It's just Taylor leaving. So he was barking because she can hear something she's not familiar with. So we'll just let her go and see for herself. So when breeders do artificial inseminations, they may have a vet or a vet tech do it, or they may do it themselves. Here we go, Belle. We'll get you to stay in your own room. Orca doesn't like you in here. Thank you. And when in England, for example, it's illegal for a breeder to do an artificial insemination themselves. Whereas here, our vets encourage us to do it so we don't take up valuable vet time. So lots of different cultural things happen when it comes to a variety of things in the world, including how we look after our dogs and what breeding practices there are. So now Orca is back with her puppies because she was finished with the drug that we don't use during lactation in Canada, the Baytril. However, she was gone for long enough that her milk bar is pretty much gone. When she came back the first day, there was still some there. Everybody gorged themselves. You want to let them just have a little bit of a nurse? She's not wanting to let them nurse right now for whatever reason, so we always honor what the dog wants. She's trying to tell me something. So they all gorged themselves that first day when they came back, where there was a little bit of residue still there. And usually hormones will kick things back into gear. At least that's what we were hoping was going to happen, just by virtue of the nipples being stimulated, the smell and the sounds of the puppies. And also we used a very natural enhancer for milk production, and that's fenugreek. So Orca has had the fenugreek, she's had the puppies on her as often as she will permit, and we still don't really have any milk production. at least not enough that can support the puppy's nutritional needs. So we are still tube feeding them around the clock. We were so hopeful at first, and our hopes were dashed. So we are still up with them during the night, feeding them every around 3.5 to 4 hours. And what else we've done now is we have introduced them to solid food. Normally that would be, especially with an Orca puppy, not until about 4 weeks because her milk bar is so plentiful. So normally her puppies aren't interested in eating any solid food before that because they get so much from Mommy Orca. But because this time we don't have much going on at the milk bar, they are interested already in learning how to eat solid food. So their solid food consists of pablum, just plain rice pablum that human babies eat, mixed with goat milk and a little bit of pumpkin. The pumpkin is there to act as a probiotic, to provide them with some extra fiber and help make that transition easier, because they don't have the goat's milk in the formula that we're tube feeding them with, and they're also still getting a bit of mom's milk. So 3 different kinds of milk, so we want to make sure we're supporting their microbiome and making digestion as easy as possible for them. So we are giving them the solid food, and basically they're not able to lap it quite yet by themselves. Reynold is in with the puppies, he's finger feeding them, and they're getting some out of that. Now some of them are getting a whole lot, and some of them not so much. So what we're doing is, after each time when it's time to feed them, Reynold comes in and does the finger feeding first with the pablum. We weigh them, and then based on what their weight is, we determine how much more they need of the formula to be tube fed. The goal is to extend the time between the tube feeding, reduce the tube feeding, increase the amount of solid food they're eating, and get them to the point where they are able to sustain themselves for, we would love it if it was a 5-hour period and we could sleep for 5 hours, but it's going to be completely up to what the puppies tell us. And each one of them is slightly different in that, and it varies from time to time. Sometimes they're tired, they're not interested, so they don't eat much. Sometimes they're like, oh wow, let's go. So on the last feeding, I believe it was red collar girl, right, Reynolds? Or no, pink collar girl that ate so much. She was just like a real go-getter. And when we weighed her, she needed almost nothing in terms of her formula. Whereas orange collar boy did not have so much. He was needing pretty much his full amount. So it's a bit of a science, it's a bit of an art. Part of it is by hand feel. So whenever I pick the puppies up for feeding time, I feel them, get an idea of what their body condition is, what do their tummies feel like. By now I can tell them all with my eyes shut as to who it is. And then based on that and the actual numbers, together we come up with what seems to be the appropriate amount for them to be gaining. So we're aiming for a 7% gain each day. That's like just fantastic if we can maintain that. And so far, other than one day, we've been able to do that. We had one day where we thought Orca had more milk than she did, and we felt we could cut back a little bit, but that day they only gained half of what they should have. But they made that all back, but they made that back quite quickly. So you also have to remember their stomachs have a finite size. So you can't say, oh, I'm going to give you 25% of what you need 4 times during the day so I can sleep through the night. Well, their stomachs will blow up. Quite literally, if you're tube feeding and you overfeed them, their stomachs will explode. So you have to be extremely cautious when you're tube feeding. First, that you get the tube in the right place, that it's far enough down the body, and second of all, that you do not give them too much, and of course that you don't give them too little. Puppies can become hypoglycemic within hours. So there's a lot going on, a lot to calculate, a lot to make sure that we have balance properly. Now this afternoon, Orca has an appointment at the vet. Originally, this appointment was to go and have the stitches off. You can see her bum area has all been shaved. And what happened was underneath her tail, I'm not going to pick her tail up, the infection broke through there. That was the area where we ran into the trouble where she had to go on Baytril. Now, because whenever she wags her tail, this opens up the scab that forms in there, there's still a little bit of blood coming out from time to time. Now, where her stitches were right at the end of her nub there, those are gone. We do not have to have those out today. And the reason for that is that part of her tail simply sloughed right off. Dogs' bodies, when they have a part of them that has died, it will just come right off of their body. So she sloughed off where all the stitches were. Fortunately, that wasn't until day 5, I believe it was, after her surgery. She had a beautiful scab underneath. Everything was healed well enough on the tail that we didn't need to worry about that. We took her in, had her checked out. Everything was fine, not to worry. And when we had her checked out for that, we also took a swab and did a culture so we could see just exactly what is this infection that we are dealing with. What has she got? So it turns out she had 2. One was a very just minor everyday type of infection, which came from probably fecal matter. Given where the injury was, this is totally expected that there will be some fecal matter that got in there. That's an easy one to deal with, not complicated at all. However, the other one that she has is a much more complicated staph infection. It's an MRSA. And as you might know from people who've had these types of infections, those infections are resistant to all types of penicillin. Clavamox and Baytril, the 2 antibiotics Orca were on, are both derivatives of penicillin. So, though this infection is resistant to both the Clavamox and the Baytril, so how come we have a dog who seems to be improving so much? Well, it's probably doing a little bit of good. Also, Orca is young and very healthy, so it's likely partly because she's on a raw diet and always has been. She has an exceptionally robust immune system, so that is probably what's fighting the infection more than the drugs are. So in reality and in hindsight, we could have not given her any drugs. She could have stayed and nursed the puppies the whole time, and we would be in the same position, except for Reynolds and I wouldn't be cranky and overtired, and we wouldn't have bloodshot eyes. However, I do think that because we gave her that break from the puppies, that allowed her body a rest from nursing and gave her more strength to also fight off the infection. So I'm taking her with me to the vet this afternoon because I want to see what his thoughts are with respect to them nursing, whether we're exposing her to any risk by leaving her here with the puppies, if it's okay. She's not really producing milk, so I think he's going to give me the all clear for that. Certainly the puppies benefit from having her here in terms of just that maternal warmth and all of the licking. We benefit because everything gets cleaned up rather than us having to feed and clean up all the time. And it's just better for puppies to be raised by their mom than not raised by their mom. Like I said, we have aunties that will do this, but aunties only go so far. So ideally that will be the all clear. I also want to do another culture so we can see where we're at, in terms of her infection, if we need to move to considering some other type of treatment. If we do need to move to a different treatment, that won't preclude her from staying with us any longer, because now that the milk bar is pretty much gone, we can just put a surgical suit on her so that the puppies aren't able to nurse. It doesn't impact their health. They still get all the benefits of mom. So that's where we're at. It's not a simple matter. It's a very fluid situation. Things change throughout the day, and we're doing everything thanks to our great team of support. We're able to support all these puppies, plus the other puppies that we have, and nobody is wanting for anything. Also, Taylor's back from Europe now, so today was her first day back. She came and spent a couple of hours just to sort of get back into the groove of working, and met all the puppies, because none of these puppies were born when she left. And Orca was very happy to see her, as were our dogs. Spirit had a song that lasted forever. So now let's get to the puppies and let's see where they're at in terms of their weight. For our families, your video this week is going to be discussing socialization for the puppies. Now these puppies are on a little bit of a different trajectory in terms of socialization. They're way ahead of the game because they've had way more interaction with people than puppies normally would at this period of time. Plus they're already in the doodle den. In terms of their ears being open and being able to hear, everybody can hear now. And it's really interesting because normally when we move the puppies in and they first can hear, and we have the adult dogs coming in and out of the doodle den because this is where they eat, or Belle right next door barking, the puppies are always a little bit like, oh my goodness, what's going on? This is different from my normal little quiet enclave I've been raised in. These puppies, nah, nope. This is what they do. You could sound the fire alarm and this is what they do. When they're hungry and either Reynolds or I walk in the room, and believe me, their clocks are far more reliable than ours, they will pick their heads up, they'll know we're here, they're looking at us, their little tails are starting to wag in recognition, and they're already like, okay, it's time to eat. So they already are well on their way to having that sound desensitization, which is what we would normally be working at right around now. So they're already miles ahead of things. We will, of course, continue with the normal desensitization and beginnings of socialization with them, but these guys are head and shoulders above that. So when you take your puppy home, you're going to find that your puppy probably has a little bit more resilience than a puppy who hasn't had quite the experience that these ones have had. So now let's see where everybody's weights are at, so we can let you know what's going on with everybody. So we do them in birth order, which of course we now all have memorized. They also, little pink collar girl here is hungry. I can tell you by feeling her stomach, she's not starving by any means, but she's trying to find anything to nurse on. Part of that is just for comfort. Yeah, I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you. Yes, I am. Oh my goodness me. So we're going to start with yellow collar boy, our firstborn. Hi, sweetheart. Hi, how you doing? It's so nice once they can hear, they can see, you can interact with them a lot more. You'll find when we look at them all now, they're a little bit messy because they've got more food on them than in them at this point. And this little handsome chocolate tri-fellow boy, he is now 1.426 kilograms. So just doing fantastic. He gained 8% overnight. That's ahead of where I'd like to see them at, so really happy with that. There you go, little yellow collar boy. Next we have Miss Red Collar Girl, who's right here in front of me. Miss Red Collar Girl is our Orca clone. She is this beautiful ebony and white little sweetheart here, and you can see she has a few little extra bits of color here. That is from her solid food that she's been eating. She had quite a big solid breakfast this morning. She's now also 1.426 kilograms and also gained 8% overnight. And you can see how she's fussy here like this when I'm holding her. This is a way I want to show you you're going to hold your puppy no matter what size they are, because see how all four legs are flailing about? They can't put their legs up against anything to push off and fall and hurt themselves. So I can do anything with her just with one hand with this football hold. It is the way to hold your puppy at all ages. We'll show you that in person when you're here for your family visit and when you pick your puppies up. Next after that we have Black Collar Girl. Black Collar Girl is our pretty apricot tuxedo girl. Hi, sweetheart. Hi. Oh, she's giving me a little attitude here because I disturbed her sleep. So she's giving me a little growl. That's so cute. Black Collar Girl is 1.326 kilograms, and she also gained 8% overnight. So really doing nicely there in the weight gains. Then we've got Pink Collar Girl, the one who is looking around trying to find something that she can nurse on. Hi. Hi. How you doing? I said, my baby. Hi. Pink is this pretty little chocolate phantom girl. No white on this girl. She maybe doesn't even carry for party for all we know. We don't know unless we test her. She's going to try my nose. Pink collar girl is 1.412 kilograms and she gained 5% overnight. So she gained the least overnight, but I can tell you that after that first feeding this morning, she was the one who gained the most because you ate so much of your pablum. Yes, I know. Reynolds such a good cook. Yes, there we go. After pink collar, we have orange collar boy. That says our ebony tuxedo. So he's like his sister black, except for he's in ebony instead of in apricot. This is our smallest puppy in the litter. Hi, handsome. Hello, sweet boy. He's a gentle little soul. He is 1.304 kilograms. He gains 6% overnight. He often is the one who gains a little bit less than the others. No idea why, just simply his genetic makeup. Does it mean anything? Nope. He's still well within the acceptable range, so we're perfectly fine with where he's at in terms of his weight. Then we have blue collar boy, who's way off here by himself. Blue collar often is off on his own. He is, I believe, the biggest puppy. Yes, he is. Hi. Hi, go, sweetheart. Hi. You want to wake up? There we go. Oh my goodness. He says, you also find that when they wake up, they're really expectant that I'm going to feed them. There we go. There we go. Make sure I don't sit on anybody. And Mr. Blue Collar is 1.489 kilograms. So he's a little hunk of love, aren't you? Yes, you're a chunky monkey. And he gained 8% overnight. Sometimes this guy can go up as high as 10%. He is what we call an easy keeper. And really when you see these small little variations, it's just really on how easily they gain weight. You know how some of us can just look at food and gain weight, like me, and other people can eat and eat and eat and they don't gain weight. So that's all I'm talking about there, just a little bit of a different type of metabolism. And sorry, orange collar is not the smallest, it's purple collar girl who is the smallest. My mistake. And purple collar girl is right here behind me. She is 1.273 kilograms. And she is our ebony phantom, and she too only has, well, she has a little smidge of white, but not really any that you can say to speak of. Hi, pretty girl. And she gained 9% overnight. So she was the biggest gainer, even though she's the smallest in terms of her weight. So that's our update for this week. I hope you enjoyed this update and this video. We hope you're subscribed. Particularly if you are a family on this litter, please make sure you watch the updates from our other litters, as for Orca's puppies, we are focusing so much on what's happening in this unique and unusual circumstance. So in our other litters, we're talking more about the normal sort of things that we do when we are doing our litter updates. So please take a moment and watch them. We try to give you all of the educational portion of the video up front and then the information on the puppies at the end. So if you aren't interested in how the other puppies are doing, you can just stop watching after you've got the information you need. But I think you'll find it helpful, and we do try to always give you something a little bit different in each one, even though there are some things we do repeat. Please take a moment, post in our comments. It's so helpful for us. We appreciate that. It helps us with the algorithm. Let us know if you've got any questions, if there's anything about this whole process you're curious about, if you have any concerns or you want to know how we make our formula and when do we change it and when will they go on real food, all those sorts of things. We will be talking about real food, so to speak, a little bit more next week. Hopefully by the next week the puppies will be able to go overnight, or maybe just require one feeding overnight, and then by 5 weeks they will be pretty much weaned. Well, they are weaned, so to speak, now, but they'll be able to maintain themselves, and we won't have to get up all the time anymore. We're looking forward to that, but rest assured, they all have nice big bellies still. You can see pink collar girl here. I mean, look at this beautiful wide spread. You can see red collar girl, even little purple collar girl. Everyone's chunky. They're substantial puppies. They're in really good health. They're all meeting or exceeding their milestones. So everything is going just as it should be. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again next week.